meeting to order this evening. We don't have a quorum at present, so Ron and Faisal, I cannot read you guys in. As soon as Mike or Cynthia shows up, we will get that taken care of, but we can start Resource Management Committee. There are no actions in that one, so we'll get that going. Maggie's not here, neither is Abena, so I'll turn it over to who's ever running this. Laura, I'm assuming that's you.
Tammy.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Laura Grace, Resource Management Division Director with the Park Authority, and I'm joined tonight by Tammy Schwab, our Interpretations and Program Branch Manager, and our new Wonder Wagon Senior Interpreters, both Molly Neeson and Nikki Zita, who are in the audience tonight. So we're very happy to be here this evening. We wanted to just take the opportunity to give you a brief update on our Mobile Nature Center and sort of the plans for it this year. We had hoped that it would be here to be able to show it off this evening, and we look forward to hopefully doing that maybe at one of our upcoming board meetings and give you the opportunity to see it. But
Birthday too.
yes, and you're going to hear more about that as we're talking about rolling it out. So I'll turn it over to Tammy to share more.
All right, thanks. So I'm going to give you this briefest of overviews of the Wonder Wagon. This has been in the works for many, many years. We've been dreaming about doing this, but it came to fruition recently because of some grants. So the development team, myself, Maria Betancourt Reed, who works for me in resource management, and then Hidden Oak staff, we worked together to write the grants that we needed to fund this, but also to do the community engagement piece that you're going to hear about in a minute. And there was a lot of people who worked together to get funding. Park Foundation was the main driver who helped us to apply for the National Park Service Gateway grant, which got us $50,000, and then another $30,000 from the community fund. Of course, the county board of supervisors supported us with the positions that we need to run it. And there are a lot of other supporters, including Pohanka and the Associated Foundation, has helped us get an actual e-transit van, which is an electric vehicle. So our implementation team is here today, Nikki and Molly, who are going to be the ones driving the wagon around and giving the programs and developing those things for us. So here's a little picture of the Wonder Wagon as it was shown to us by the person who made the raft. We haven't actually seen it. It is at the Germantown lot getting the drive cam installed right now. So the Wonder Wagon stands for Wild Outdoor Nature Discovery Everywhere Revealed. Our idea was to not necessarily bring a nature center to a place that people would like to get into it and come into a nature center, but rather to activate nature where people are. And so that could be just about anywhere, like a library, a park, it could be a community center, all kinds of different places. So the goals of this program are to increase awareness, connection, and appreciation of nature within the diverse members of the county. So looking at the PARA, which was developed, where are those places that are opportunity areas that we would like to focus on, and finding parks and communities in those areas to visit. So we wanted to make sure that we developed this program with the community and didn't just develop it and give it to the community. The idea was they needed to be involved in the development of it. There's, challenges there about finding the audience, making sure that any feedback we got from them was anonymous, but also accessible. How long did it take for someone to answer a survey or to give us input, and, keeping people's interest. So we came up with this very easy, low barrier way to get information from the public, which was we had them vote with bingo chips in little tubs of what kind of nature information they wanted. Where did they want to see the mobile nature center? How much time would they like to spend on it? Those sort of questions, so that we knew that when we went to the community, it was something that they wanted us to do. So there's a close up here. Each one of the little containers were labeled in English and Spanish, and also had just sort of something next to the container that represented that part of nature. We also split up the bingo chips between adults and children, so we could tell if there was a difference in the interest of the adults versus the interest of the kids. So what did we find out? Well, kids want to learn more about furry animals and birds and things like that, but stewardship was 12%. So we were pretty excited about the fact that there was that interest there, and 6% in careers. So you we likely will do all of these things, but we're going to start out with our furry animals, bugs and birds as our first sort of foray into nature. It was interesting that adults wanted to learn more about gardening and plants. If you put the two of them together, that's a huge chunk of what these folks are interested in. So making sure that we have that as part of what we're talking about in the Beaumont Nature Center is important as well. So stewardship a little even higher in adults, so that was good to see. But this is what they indicated they were interested in. We also wanted to know where would they like to visit the van? And of course, they want to come and see it in the park, a park near them, but they also overwhelmingly wanted to see it in the libraries as well, because they're already going there. So we want to take the Wonder Wagon to where they're going. And libraries are perfectly good places to activate nature, because they typically have shrubs and trees and grass that just like any other apartment complex or urban landscape. So we can talk about nature that they might find near their house. Community centers are on there as well, STAC, and then of course, that general. How long would they like to engage? So it turns out that most folks are looking to do 30 minutes to an hour of engagement, which kind of makes sense. And we decided to set our public events up as stations, so people can come and go as they please, do as many stations as they're interested in, and be able to interact with it as well as they want. So we will, be there for more than 2 hours, but any one person would only need to be there for 10 to 15 minutes to do one of our activity stations. So we're in the implementation phase right now. We've got the website is up. There's a calendar where a request form, we just set our IT ticket in to get the request form online for folks to request the Wonder Wagon to visit a park near them. So we're not gonna have them request it and come to their house or something like that, but to request that the Wonder Wagon comes to a park near them. And then we can create park activation schedules based on the community demand for that. We're also working with Creative Services to get flyer signs and banners for our park activations. We have a lot of program partners who are helping us. So Fairfax Master Naturalists, we're working very closely with them because they're going to provide a lot of volunteers to help us to man these activations at the parks. We can have anywhere from 2 people to 200 people. We don't know how many people are going to come. We want to be prepared and have scalable things. So we're going to train a bunch of Master Naturalist volunteers to help us as well. We've already been working with NCS and ZAC program, so we're going to be using them as our test audience and visiting Title I schools and ZAC after school programs to test out our activities and to sort of fine tune them as we get closer to the unveiling. And of course, we'll be working with them after that as well, but they're kind of our first one. But we're also working with community groups like Second Story, Pecan Strong Families. We've been talking with Turning Parks about how we can get into that opportunity area. The libraries have engaged us for their summer reading events. There's a really great topic this year, which is adventure. So it kind of fits right into the Wonder Wagon. So we'll be visiting lots of libraries, because that was a popular site for us in the survey. So the timeline is basically right now, we are creating the programs, we're buying supplies. We just got a bunch of binoculars in. The van is delivered to DVS and it should be here any day now. We are creating the schedule, so we're gonna have a tentative schedule of where we're going to be activating parks and what community events we're gonna be at. Baltimore Day, for example, and Earth Day. We're gonna be training volunteers and staff for the Virginia Master Naturalists, et cetera, in April, and testing programs with our private partners, which would be school-age childcare. And then unveiling the van at Earth Day, April 20th. So there aren't any public events leading up to April 20th, but there are a lot of partner-specific events that we're going to be working directly with partners that we'll be testing that. So if you're interested in seeing the van before April 20th, where it's going to be testing in the community. So for spring and the school year, we're going to run programs with our community partners. Back in NCS for summer, we're going to be starting our park activations all over the county. We got the rec pack visits already scheduled for every week. The rec pack is going to be there, summer meeting. And then in fall, we're going to continue. So we get a lot of community events like Centerville Day and things that we'll be visiting. And I think it's an opportunity partners will be working with, trying to develop those partnerships, not just in Pittsburgh, where we have a very strong relationship, but also in areas like Centerville and Reston, places that we haven't necessarily made a ton of partnerships yet. So here's a picture of the van. It has lots of space for nature exploration equipment like taxidermy, binoculars, bird call things, all kinds of instruments that we're going to be putting in there. We're going to roll up to a particular place, and we're going to bring out that equipment so people learn how to explore nature where they belong. We also have a nice canopy on the front there to keep it shady for when we're doing our presentations. And we're going to be rolling out for our program testing and training. So, any questions?
Do you have any plans to do live furry animals or just?
So for this particular van, we are, the only live animals we'll be bringing would be like bugs.
Right.
Now we are planning a Wonder Wagon too. That Wonder Wagon will have to have a different configuration to allow us to bring live animals. And we're gonna partner with Innos to maybe turtles or snakes. But as far as furry animals go, we don't really have those in the park authority other than Frying Pan. And so we won't likely have live furry animals in either Wonder Wagon, but there will be live animals, bugs in the first one, and hopefully graduate to larger animals in the second.
I know they present their own challenges, but you also saw that they were the most requested, most popular.
Yeah.
Any leads on partnering with FCPS? I mean, is it something that would happen during the school day that the bus would pull up and be able to?
So we're actually steering away from that because we have a lot of grant funded programs where we visit the schools, watch the green grow, for example, and get a Fair Nice Water grant. So we're already working with schools in their schoolyards with other programs. And so this particular one, we're focusing on SAC, for after school type things. But we also are going to be very busy on the weekends. So we're trying to, sort of keep that in mind. Not sure, once we get 2 vans, maybe we would consider doing school programs, but there are 175 elementary schools and, each one has 5 to 6 grades in them. And so there's no way we could accommodate every FCPS school, whereas if we bring the outreach from all of the sites and we can continue doing that kind of outreach, we're much more likely to be able to serve all the schools.
And many of the schools are coming to our sites already for field
Yes,
trips.
yes.
Good. Great. This is great. Good program. It'll be a great example because the Reston Community Center, we funded that one and that one's gonna come up next year. So,
Is it a nature center?
a van, a custom van delivering community center programs to all Reston. So good. Great.
All right. Nobody has anything else?
Whatever is this first?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm
That's the important thing.
curious. I'm just curious.
All right, we'll call this meeting adjourned.
Very much.
And it's all you. I think we'll have to go out of order in terms of.
Information items
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Call the Planning and Development Committee to order. And
So I think we're gonna go first with.
we'll start off with the energy plan update.
So, guys, we're gonna start off with.
Hey, we're not doing this one first.
Adam,
Energy.
we're not doing.
We have to do the information items first.
So, Energy plan first?
Yeah.
So we don't have a quorum, so we're waiting.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Because no one reset it.
Hi, Donald. I'm Ahmed Line. I'm the new Assistant Division Director, Planning Development. And I'm here to introduce Pat and Pete, who's going to be presenting the Zero Waste update.
Doing, Keith Snyder, I'm the Energy Branch Manager for the Park Authority. We'll have Tomlinson, he's taking over as the engineer here for the Park Authority, working on the for who left out 2023. I don't get the zero waste update, I'll get the interview. So I want to go over the items from.
I'm just telling Mohammed if he wants to sit right there during the item, that's fine. I was gonna have him sit, actually here. Just in case you need to say something. Sorry, go ahead.
Go over what the Park Authority goals are, as far as the county operation strategy. Reducing our total energy usage by 20% from the 2018 baseline. We're almost there through FY23, and projected to get there by the end of FY4 with the project we're doing currently. We're also working on a lot of other initiatives with the counties, including that ESCO work, which is phase 2. We have phase 3 near PO, phase 4 is the we're getting our first solar installation, our first major solar installation at the rec center. It's currently near completion, and we're working on other capital improvements throughout the park. So as I said, we have a goal to reduce usage by 20%. We're at just over 18% through FY23, now midway through FY24. We're actually right at the 20% mark now. Completed, and by the end of the year, when the geothermal and pool units are installed at Spring Hill, will be over 20%. 5 years early, that's a big feather in our hat. We put a lot of effort into major renovations. Cover on South Run and Spring Hill so far, so that's showing in the effort that and production that we so completed project wise, since the last time I was up here, we did South Run and Cub Run were phase 1 projects, including boiler upgrades, pool units, building automation systems, which you can see highlighted here. You don't really get to see them when you walk through the building. These are in back rooms of the facility and the rooftops. We're trying to do a decent job of hiding them from the public and not interfere with the views that we designed into the building. South Run, internally, we replaced the boilers at South Run, and all these projects are seeing upwards of 30% savings at South Run, and Cub Run, we're seeing 60% savings. The 4 boilers there are high efficiency boilers compared to what was there, and they are well on their way to paying for themselves. Additionally, we're working on other savings, including county funding for water bottle filler upgrades, so we can reduce the amount of single-use plastic bottles that are brought into the Park Authority and used on site. We've upgraded at all the major staff facilities to bottle filling stations, and now we're going to be focusing on the non-staff facilities. And we're adding remote building controls to our non-staff facilities so that during the wintertime, the heater runs when it's supposed to. We can put in better programming, in the summer, the ventilation runs. Ongoing and upcoming projects. Spring Hill is midway through construction. Geothermal well field has been installed. Groundbreaking was in August. Well field is installed and the actual equipment to be installed. Solar array had the interconnection installed last week, and we're waiting on the minion to get that started up. It should be within. So we start generating power there. We are in the field phase where the bid phase, bid thing I started in the phase 3 at Oakmont and similar scopes to Spring Hill is not geothermal. because we have complete system overhauls, large investment, would be capital replacement regardless, but we have the capital funding in the OEC. Putting solar on Burke Lake, we're in the design phase of that project with targeted implementation fall 4. And we just kicked off our ESCO phase 4 at GW Providence. And with the expected sometime this time next year. We're also pushing the county for funding for rooftop solar at the rec centers. We got new roofs at several of the rec centers with a couple months scheduled for the summer, but we want to install solar within 5 years. That's a capital investment, so we're trying to have the county help us with that. The funding that we put into the major renovation or major upgrades to the systems over the past couple of years. We got a lot of funding from the OEC, about 50% funding, which is great. That's allowed us to not only replace equipment, but put in the right, highest efficiency. That question.
Tim, so you indicated the 20% target by 2029 for the county. What, I assume that there are targets by the county for us in the out years. Do you have that information, or are there no targets set at this
No
point?
targets past them. There are stretch goals for, carbon footprint, but those are programmed. We'll switch our goals to those. They start at 30. 20% and 25% by. Our solar panel, our solar installations will help reduce that. Our production of boilers, which is natural gas, helps our carbon footprint.
There's no plans at this point for anything on Mount Vernon's new construction, right?
We have looked hard into that. It was not part of the design package with the funding and the vehicles available at the time. But we are looking at potential there. Timing doesn't work out very well if the contractors went for warranty. So if we do get funding, it would be at carryover, which arrives in October and very take time. We're already talking with the contractors if they would allow it within 1 year warranty period, or it needs to wait until the year after. 25, 26.
Right, you just said when roofs are being replaced, well, it's kind of like the ultimate roof replacement.
They're preferred within 5 years. You want it's 20-year installation.
Oh, I
The
see.
roof warranty is 25 to 30 years. So if you wait past that period, then you're running out.
Okay, so so I'm actually wrong. So you're not wanting to do it with a new roof necessarily, but you want to do it with a relatively new roof that will not be replaced for several years after you install it.
Ideally, if we can get it all done at the same time, because then it's all done. They do a check-in and then they check it out warranty wise. But financially, it doesn't always work out because each rec center is about $1.2 million solar rates. And it's about $1.2 million for roof replacement, so 2.4 for each rec center is a large stretch.
But Mount Vernon would be primed for this upgrade because it had a pretty new roof. And just because it's not being built with it doesn't mean that it's not primed for it, because the roof is fresh and optimum to do the job. That's good to know. So make sure you, if any of the public, because there's some very minded people that contribute a lot to Mount Vernon, make sure you kind of spell that out for them. Maybe we should make them happy.
Building was designed to be solar ready, so the structure is going to be upgraded. We're looking at the exact routing for conduit so that we don't have to do any extra penetrations later. We're also looking at the interconnection feasibility, so that if we have to go and do that later, we have the space.
Yeah, these answers I'm getting from you are much better than I thought they would be.
We've been working very hard on that.
Other comments, questions? Made some great progress. Great.
Thank you.
Zero waste.
Ken, before we do that, I'm gonna jump in and read Ron and Faisal now that we have a quorum in the room. Virginia law authorizes the remote participation of board members, provided that a policy exists to ensure that such remote participation is consistently administered. This board has approved policy 111. Any such remote attendance must be approved by the board as long as a physical quorum of the board is actually present. Voice of the remote participant is able to be heard by everyone in the room, and the remote participation comports with the policy. So we're going to verify that the remote participants' voices are clear, audible, and at an appropriate volume for the meeting room, and confirm their location. We got 2 members participating remotely tonight, Ron Kendall and Faisal Khan. Ron, are you connected to this meeting remotely?
I am, this is Ron Kendall. I'm connected remotely from my home in the Dominican Republic.
Great. I move that Mr. Kendall's voice may be adequately heard from his location.
Tim Hack, but I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Faisal, are you connected to this meeting remotely?
Yes, I'm at my residence in the Providence district.
Great. I move that Mr. Khan's voice may be adequately heard from his location.
Hack, but I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. We'll now verify the remote participant's physical absence comports with the policy. So motion is pursuant to the Park Authority Policy 111 for remote participation in public meetings. I move that Mr. Ron Kendall and Mr. Faisal Khan be permitted to participate remotely in this meeting because it comports with the policy we adopted and a physical quorum is present here at the Park Authority Boardroom, 9th floor, Harity Building.
Tim Hack, but I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Ken, back to you.
Okay, zero waste. You're up.
As Keith Mohammed said, my name is Pat Tomlinson. I'm a project manager for the energy renewable branch of the Energy Development Plan. This presentation will provide a brief overview of the county's zero waste initiative, progress we made last year, and the goals for 20 years. Four primary zero waste goals were laid out in the county's 2021 operational energy strategy, and they are reaching out, reducing, reusing, and recycling. The ultimate goal is that by 2030, the county will reduce the overall waste generated from operations.
Excuse me, we're having a hard time hearing you online. Would you mind speaking up or using the microphone a little bit?
Testing. Is this better?
You speak up a little, just
Okay.
so they yell a little bit.
Okay, I'll start back over again, if that's okay.
Fine.
The 4 primary zero waste goals were laid out in the county's 2021 operational energy strategy, and they are reaching out, reducing, reusing, and recycling. The ultimate goal is that by 2030, the county will reduce the overall waste generated from operations by 25% and divert 90% of the remaining waste from disposal. For all zero waste efforts, we must also keep in mind equity as a core consideration in alignment with the county's One Fairfax policy. For the first zero waste goal, reaching out, we want to focus on awareness and engagement by providing information to staff and patrons so they can better understand the scale of the problems associated with waste management and the benefits of minimizing environmental impacts. The goal is to establish a zero waste team from all Park Authority departments comprised of individuals committed to identifying and implementing initiatives to meet goals using their unique perspectives, skills, and roles of the Park Authority. We also want to generate and disseminate materials to parks, nature centers, and rec center users, as well as providing information to visitors at events like the upcoming birthday celebration on Saturday, April 20th at the Sully Historical Center. For the second zero waste goal, reduction, we're looking at programs that are reducing publicly generated waste. In 2023, composting was implemented at all farmers markets, resulting in over 100,000 pounds of compost being removed from the waste stream. And all rec centers are fully equipped with hard pipes, water bottle filling stations, reducing single-use water bottles. 2024 goals include maintaining successful implementation of compost collection at each of the 10 farmers markets. We'll be exploring expansion of the compost program to include additional collection points and increasing the number of participants. We want to explore opportunities using support and funding from the Fairfax County Zero Waste Team to reduce waste at SCPA facilities. And we'll be tapping into the creativity and knowledge of staff at all levels of Park Authority
to incorporate sustainable purchasing priorities because reducing upstream waste consistently provides the greatest environmental impact. For the third zero waste goal, reuse. In 2023, the SCBA staff increased their use of reusable materials. The Park Authority has utilized the Zero Waste Team's reusable foodware party pack at several events and has evaluated a pilot program for reusable foodware at golf course clubhouse grills. We want to utilize funding from Zero Waste, the plastic bag tax revenue, or other funds to establish additional programs to provide reusable materials. We'll explore options to incorporate items like reusable cups for special event beverages and reusable trays for food truck vendors. For the fourth zero waste goal, recycling, the Park Authority will continue its recycling efforts by looking to provide optimal recycling containers at SCBA operated facilities and reducing contamination in the recycling stream. 2024 goals include incorporating the anticipated phase 1 investment to provide the maximum practical coverage of recycling containers at rec centers, athletic fields, and parks. Upon completion, all trash and recycling containers will be geotagged, so the location information will be readily available to county residents. Another goal for 2024 is reducing the contamination rate for recycling, which was identified at 33% in the most recent recycling audit through education, signage, and increased capacity. And finally, the group that will be involved on a day-to-day basis and will be key to discuss meeting zero waste goals as a staff of the Park Authority. Be happy to take any questions.
Questions, comments? Okay, great effort. All right. Now we'll go back to the Mount Vernon Woods renovation.
Thank you.
Dr. Colliers not here.
Next, I would like to present, to introduce Heather and Adam, and they're gonna be presenting the Mount Vernon Wood Park scope approval.
Okay, hello, everybody. I'm Adam Wynn, project coordinator, and presenting the scope along here with Heather Lynch. And this is for approval of Mount Vernon Woods scope letter. So to start off, I was going to give you a little bit of background. Mount Vernon Woods is classified as a local park, Franconia district. The park was acquired in 1961. The original master plan was done in 1965. And originally there was a baseball diamond and tennis courts in the park, and those were removed way longer back, let's say like 50 years ago. So here's a couple images of what the park looks like today. As you can see, it's very flat and empty. There's an older pavilion and playground that exists in the rear of the park, which will be removed as part of the new design. And really, we're bringing all of the park amenities much closer to the street, thanks to for visibility and an overall better park experience. Historically, park development has been informed by master planning process. The master plan for this park was approved in 2015 and was responsive to the input received from the community. When developing the master plan, when it was funded in 2020, with the 2020 launch staff put together several concepts and met with the community again to get additional input. And then it was through this process that our final design was realized and plans were put together for county review and approval. So this is an illustrative plan and design. New park features will include a 41 space parking area, forest pavers, a large fence and playground with equipment for different ages and abilities, a large picnic pavilion, a fitness area, a skate park, a futsal basketball court combo, an open play field that can be used for unscheduled sports, and then a maintained open space that is in that area where FCPA has an easement agreement with the tower. In addition to the park facilities, the park design will include multiple rain gardens and native landscaping throughout.
Here's a 3D illustrative. There's been a couple changes to the design since I did this rendering, but it kind of gives you the idea. But the changes are mainly around the pavilion. I'll also note that in this image, the skate park design is just a placeholder, as this portion of the park will be designed by a skate park design build company, and that will occur in phase 2. My remote is not working. Oh, there we go. So the playground will have 5 to 12 age equipment and 2 to 5 age equipment. The selected equipment was designed to encourage inclusive play with elements not only for physical play, but also cognitive, sensory, and social play. Playground surfacing will be poured in place rubber and fully accessible. A fitness area will be located on the other side of the pavilion and will feature a mix of solo equipment and one of those FitCore multifunctional pieces. They can do everything on from, they kind of look like monkey bars, but you can do push-ups and pull-ups and everything else. And that surface would be engineered. This is an illustrative of the shelter to help visualize, but it'll be approximately 42 feet by 30 feet in size with wood framing and metal seam roof. One of the nice features of it is that it's situated between the playground and the field, so it really can serve as a multifunctional shade structure, whether that's parents watching their kids in the playground or if the field's being used for a sport event. The sport court on the site is going to be one of our first futsal basketball court combos. The system we're looking at would have, you can kind of see in the top image, it would have those lower panels that basically serve as the backboards that you can hit the ball off of. And then each end of the court has a basketball goal as well as a futsal goal. As I was saying before, green infrastructure will be kind of throughout the park, in the parking lot. We're incorporating porous pavers. There's 2 rain gardens. If you've ever been to the site is as flat as you can imagine. It's flat. So stormwater is actually a challenge on this site. So it took a lot of design and effort to figure out how to come up with green solutions, but it all works together. And then the landscaping, we're putting in a lot of native trees, shrubs, and also frames. The skate park will be designed and built as part of the second phase of this project, but it'll be similar in the size shown here. It'll be have more urban skate park elements, such as the raised bowl. But that again is going to happen in the second phase. Will be really figured out working with the skate park designer. So now I'm going to turn it over to Heather, who will go over the schedule and funding.
And as you know, Adam did all this design, and now we're on to construction. We're right now in the permitting, and we hope to have the permits complete by the second quarter of the calendar year of 2024, which is next month. We have decided that because the skate park does need to be designed within the concept, and the way you have to purchase a skate park is actually hire them, and then we have to bid it out first, and then hire them, and then design it. So we got to do it in 2 phases. So the public will have phase 1, which is going to be the parking lot, playground, shelter, fitness area, and the football court, the multi-purpose court. Only area would be off the skate park area. That'll be phase 2. Phase 1 will be open in the second quarter of calendar year 2025, and phase 2 will be the fourth quarter calendar year 2025. We'll have limited closures, but we're trying to open up as soon as possible. Funding has been set aside, ARPA funding, $600,000. And the park bond has $3.5 million, equaling $4.1 million project. And we're here today, Item 9, we're here today for your approval.
Questions, comments?
So you do have the funding for phase 2 also.
Correct, yes, we do.
I thought this is an awesome design. This park is gonna be great. And I'm glad you're planting a lot of trees because my impression is there are a lot of trees on the park today that are gonna disappear, right?
Well, there's no trees. It's actually a big flat green field, but it does share a border with Huntley
Okay,
Meadows
so-
Park.
Okay, so I thought on your first picture, was that an old picture? Your very first slide had half the park, I thought, with trees on it.
On the back side of the park. So if you look at this
This
aerial,
area, right?
so if the
Are
whole
those-
back side of the park is trees and we're not
Touching that.
touching those, but all that green space in front of it.
Yep.
That's where that's why everything's really
Fantastic.
dense in the front.
Got it. Thank you so
And-
much. That's great.
And
Wonderful.
just to add on to that, you know, for safety reasons, the pavilion was in those woods, so you see how far away from the road it is to get. And I just wanted to also point out if you, on this slide, because if you zoom out and you look at it, this is why process is so important when we're looking at access to entry. Because if you just look at all of this community, there's this huge Huntley Meadow that's right there. It's like, oh, they're very served by parks, but you can't get there. There's no trailhead in from this side. You can't get through, right? And so they're actually a good 12 minutes by, you know, driving around with the stoplights to get to actually the Huntley Meadow that they're right adjacent to. And so it's a really good example. You can't really look at the two-dimensional map to see what the park needs are.
Thanks for the clarification.
Mike?
Is the field a turf field?
Yes.
So you're gonna have an artificial turf field that's gonna be unscheduled play?
No, it's not artificial.
Oh, I'm sorry,
It's-
okay. No, because I just saw with the concrete around it. That's in the illustrative after the park site map plan. Is what I've seen mostly with, if you look at the next. The concrete around it is something that I've normally seen only with the artificial turf, not the grass. Because the mowers tend to go straight across and can't, so, but I was just gonna, if it's artificial turf, you were gonna draw and it was unscheduled. You were gonna have a whole lot of walk-ons and that poor parking lot was not gonna be empty very often.
No, it's definitely sod, and the reason for the walkway around the back wasn't only ADA access to the team seating and the bleachers, but also it kind of forms a walk loop through the park. So we were.
No, like I said, there are lots of walk-on issues in the county.
Yeah.
With certain fields, and if I remember correctly, I had counted less than 40 parking places and thought. The community would have relatively limited use based on the leagues the walk-on leagues that would find the field and use it a lot.
There are gonna be permanent goalposts installed though, right?
Yes.
So the other thing is the road in front, so the school is right across the street. And so the school has ample parking, especially on weekends. So the school, there's a parking lot directly across the street and the road is all parallel parking on top of it. You know, this is one of the parts that you could make a case for not needing parking. There's so much parking that's available, but we wanted to make sure that we put in parking because the community had said that they were interested in that. And then the side part that we have an easement on is not yeah, I think the maintained open space, it is super flat. It's a radio tower. It's a radio tower behind it that we have an easement on. And that's plenty of space to play like small-sided soccer and bring the small ones so you can play. So you can have multiple, you know, games going on at the same time. That's a huge, flat, completely open space that's available as well, that we're not lining. So the idea is like a unprogrammed open space.
Based on the question that you gave that Linwood asked, are you putting in permanent soccer goals or are you putting in the soccer football goal? I mean, what is the permanent?
Leave permanent in concrete, footers that's going in the ground,
Right, but are they
soccer or football.
Are they soccer? Well, no, for example, at a number of the fields, we have the soccer goals that didn't have the football things on. The reason I ask is that by putting in permanent soccer goals, it's a great soccer field. It's less useful for somebody who wants to play lacrosse. Because you can't play women's lacrosse on that field, for example, in any kind of full field way. But if it's not gonna be a scheduled field, I'm just trying to understand the usefulness. That's all.
We would need to get back to you on that, if that's okay.
That's fine. It was just curiosity.
Great idea. Thank you. So, thank you.
This is tremendous. So many things I'm super excited about with regard to the park. A couple of questions, and Jay's probably already tracking this, so you can tell me if this is something you're already thinking about, but in terms of the skate park, have you guys thought about, in terms of the bidding on it or, you know, the RFP on it, having a beginners area and a space for teen girls to gather and recreate?
And I totally support that. What's gonna happen is we're gonna bid the whole project, including the designing concept. Then those comments, of course, we'll definitely take. Adam and I will be part of the design team, whoever, we get those comments, and then we will definitely put that comment.
And one of the things that I get with your, this is a smaller skate park than the one over, it's much smaller. So this is gonna be like an urban, kind of when they were talking about like an urban, I would consider this a skate spot more than a skate park. If we were to take it in the picture. But one of the things that we really wanted to do to make it open for more people to use is the elements like pulling that that shelter out of the woods where no woman, girl wants to sit and talk, and really make it open where driving by, you can see through it. The separation of that adult exercise equipment from the kid space, from the futsal, from the, really creates a space that people aren't like in people's way, and it's right on the other side. And then the walking loop, so there's, you have and the walking loop, also to be able to like sit and socialize and have a conversation. So there are ways that you can add little elements into a smaller space. I mean, this is a smaller park area. I mean, if you take out the field, the actual front of that is not that large. So we really wanted to make sure that there's a little something for absolutely every, you know, person who would come, even if it's in a small space. But I guess I get what you're saying.
And then,
Hear you on that. Thank you.
and then one other question, in terms of the native plants, super excited about that as well. Will there be any signage about the native plants? Like, because I mean, we're gonna go through all this trouble of having these amazing native plants, and it's gonna be right by Holly Meadows. It would be awesome if there were signs, you know, maybe even just one sign explaining why the native plants, and then labeling so that the women that are walking around, let's say the loop, could look at and like be thinking about their gardens as they possibly, I don't know, are thinking about, you know, why native plants. And
We can actually speak with RMP, they do our signage.
And I know they have someone that they look at for little tree designs and stuff like that, so. And usually, I think we want to wait after the first year to make sure, you know, usually in that first year, it's critical for tree health. Before we put in a sign and then, but definitely.
And we will also, RMD is on our team, our budget team, and we'll definitely.
Dr. Carter, we're talking about the Mount Vernon Woods renovation. And we've gone through the presentation and we're just questions and answers now.
Thank you.
Any comments you may have?
I have none so far.
Okay, if there's no other questions, is there a consensus to move this forward?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. That said, I don't believe there's any other items. We will adjourn the Planning and Development Committee.
All right, and then we're in recess until 7:30.
Like you're hearing.
Wow.
You're hearing.
Can't hide from you.
Straight.
All right,
and
the
the
March 13th, 2024 Park Authority Board meeting is back in session. Ben, do we have any speakers this evening?
Chairman, Ben Boxer, Public Information Officer, Park Authority, we do not have any speakers.
All right, we'll go right into the administrative items. Admin 1 is the recommended adoption of the minutes of the February 28, 2024 Park Authority Board meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion of this? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. We have one action item this evening in the Franconia District. Action item number 1 is the recommended approval of the project scope for the renovation of Mount Vernon Woods. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. A whole mess of information items this evening. Information item number 1 is the Cultural Resource Management Plan 2024 update, FY 2023 accomplishments, and FY 2024 implementation plan as presented to and reviewed by the Resource Management Committee on February 28th, 2024. Information 2 is the Equity Study Outreach Update as presented to and reviewed by the Communications and Community Outreach Committee on February 28, 2024. Information 3 is the Planning and Development Division Quarterly Project Status Report is presented to and reviewed by the Planning and Development Committee on February 28, 2024. Information 4 is the FY 2024 FCPA Court improvements as presented to and reviewed by the Planning and Development Committee on February 28, 2024. Information 5 is the FY 2024 second quarter budget review, Fund 1001, General Fund as presented to and reviewed by the Budget Committee on February 28th. Information 6 is the fiscal year 2024 second quarter budget review, Fund 80000, Park Services Revenue and Operating Fund is presented to and reviewed by the Budget Committee on February 28th. And information 7 is the FY 2025 proposed budget as presented to and reviewed by the Budget Committee on February 28th. I've got very little this evening. Just for those who did not already respond to Allison, just to remind everyone that we have it's no longer tentative, right? It's now a confirmed meeting with EQUAC on May 8th. It will be in this room. Probably. Oh, probably not. Oh. Okay, and do we have a rough time? Not yet, all right, but sometime in the evening on March 8th. A meeting with EQUAC. It is outside of our normal schedule, but it will replace the one that had been for years previous in the fall. I think we got 5 people confirmed and we're 4 outstanding. I won't call anybody out here, but if you're one of the 4 outstanding, just let Allison know if you'll be there or not. Jay?
Okay, while Allison's pulling it up, I just wanted to just say you might have noticed or not noticed, which is kind of the point. That there are less staff here today because we're giving back some people's personal time. They're online. And so now if you don't have an item, it's your prerogative if you want to watch it from home. And if there's a question, then they can come up on Teams. I didn't want you to think that half the people have abandoned us. But you know, work-life balance is important. So we wanted to make sure if you don't have a specific item, then they don't have to be here until 9 o'clock. So that's the first thing. Okay, so on March 9th, we celebrated the start of construction on a new restroom, concessions, and storage facility at McNaughton Fields Park. Celebration of a collaborative effort with Supervisor Stork, the Woodlawn Little League community, and several donors that made that project a reality. The facility will provide much needed conveniences of a permanent restroom, facilitate concession sales and storage of field equipment.
This is the first time I ever made the director's talk show.
Huh?
I think, I think you can.
Not the Mount Vernon groundbreaking.
Everybody see it.
Are you feeling left out?
I wasn't in it, so you got it more.
Prominent.
Yes. Next slide. So coming up, Earth Day 2024. So it's going to be Saturday, April 20th, 10 to 4 at Sully Historic Site. It's always a really phenomenal day. I think we advertise it, Allison, we advertise it. So, and you don't have to let us know if you're coming. We advertise it as an event. And so there's outdoor discovery activities, synthetic ice rink, interactive nature exhibits, Furry Farm Friends, the Touch a Truck, food and entertainment. We're unveiling the Wonder Wagon, and Topper Shutt, who is my husband's personal hero, is going to, listen, I've never seen that man be more starry-eyed. And when he walked up and saw Topper Shutt, I looked at him, I was like, is this serious? And he's like, it's really serious. Like he took a picture, loves Topper Shutt. They're like this now. We grew up, he is. Your weather, yes, he's a weather guy. If you were there last year or remember, we had some pretty bad thunderstorms rolling in, and I think we still had.
Yeah, right when Tim showed up.
Right, yeah. I think we still had, how many, like thousands in the morning came out early to come. So if this ends up being a really nice weather day, we expect it to just be packed. It was wildly successful. I significantly encourage everyone listening and here to attend. Next slide. Okay, so really quickly, I just wanted to, this is an emergency, and so this is director's matter to let you know, and Tim is aware. We are going to be working with DPWES, has a emergency maintenance and repair project that they have to do at Scotts Run. It's right next to the falls. The emergency work is needed to restore operation of 3 wastewater siphons. A siphon vault and construction that's adjacent to the waterfalls. So it's going to entail us closing the park for 4 to 6 weeks for phase 1. We all know how very popular Scotts Run is, and so we felt the need to just as early and often let everybody know what's going on. They're gonna start staging and putting up the fence March 27, 28, which I think is the Wednesday, Thursday of spring break. And then phase 2, there might be another phase that I believe is shorter, might be needed in the future, depending on the vault values. Next slide. I don't know what vault values are. What are vault values?
Oh, valves.
Valves.
Cute.
Oh, vault valves.
Sorry.
Thank you for asking. I was like, what's a vault value? And then you asked me, I'm like,
Did I sound like I knew what I was talking about?
Hey.
All right, never mind, that makes sense.
Valves.
There are 3 pipes that convey
Well, Jen.
across the river from Scotts Run Nature Preserve to Carter Rock, and connect with the Potomac Interceptor that goes down to Blue Plains along the road that goes in front of the Naval Surface Warfare Center.
And so
With a 3 of fail.
Yep.
So
One left.
part of the plan for this, if you look at the stream kind of going up the side, that left side, and the fall where Scotts Run waterfall is, in order to continue to keep the parking lot will have to be, the larger parking lot would have to be closed. There's another parking lot on Georgetown Pike. I believe there's max 11 spots, about 11 spaces. And you see the sides. Scotts Run doesn't have any trailheads that are not off of these parking lots, so it's not like a sieve leaking in from other places. And everybody who goes, if they park the 11 cars that would park it at the other parking lot, people are going to want to get to the falls. Like that's their goal. And so when we close down trails, people will make their own People's Choice trails to get to the falls because that's the destination at Scotts Run. It's spring. We've got a lot of ephemerals coming up now. It's a sensitive time in this preserve, and just because there's only 11 spaces, we're just going to close the park during construction. So just wanted to make everybody sort of aware of that, and Tim is aware of that. We will be working with DPWS with the signage, and the notifications will be coming from them because this is emergency repair. It's not a question or a, should we do it or, whatever. Nobody wants sewage going down the Potomac. And so here, only 2 of 3 siphons are operating right now, so I need to remove sediment from the siphons vault. That removal operation will take about 6 weeks. We're gonna be working from Monday through Saturday. They're gonna have 2 construction staging areas in the western lower parking space, and they're gonna be transporting sediment from the vault 2 to 3 trips daily. So they're gonna continue to drive back and forth down the gravel access road. That's it. Go ahead. Did I miss anything?
Nope. Good.
Just wanted to make everybody aware of that, because I'm sure.
That's all you got?
Yep.
All right. Ken, anything for us this evening?
I just have one comment. We probably all of you know the Federation of Friends meeting was held, and it was outstanding. I wish there had been more attendees, but those that were there sort of exemplified the value of formal friends group as well as informal friends group to the Park Authority's mission. A good meeting.
Bill?
Pass.
Faisal?
I'll pass.
Ron?
Generally I will pass, but I want everybody to know I'll be back next Tuesday, so I'll be enjoying that Virginia weather again.
Safe travels.
Jonah?
Yes.
Mike? Linwood? Cynthia? Tim?
Pass.
All right. We got anything else? All right. I declare this meeting adjourned. See you guys in a month.
All right. Good job.
Well done.